we make you laugh? Aren't we fucking funny?
Does that sound fine?
What's the fucking man?
Welcome back to the Moonjuice Metal and Horror Podcast, the podcast where we live and breathe heavy metal and horror, but not afraid to shit on both of them. I'm Mike.
I'm Matt. So we decided to head to the theaters and see another movie that's fresh because we're click whores, like Mike said last time. the prequel to this movie. Actually, it wasn't. It was a prequel to this movie. This is the follow-up. But we said we were going to start trying.
It's the sequel of a sequel of a sequel, Matt. That's what
of a sequel. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We said we were going to start trying to see more movies in the theater. That way you guys can get some fresh movies and our takes on them before you see them. So that's what we did this time. We went to the theater and saw a movie.
The last time you called a spoiler episode.
Oh, I did. Yeah. So let's go ahead and say that. This is your spoiler episode. This is your spoiler episode. And when we do this, like if we're gonna do a movie in the theater that's a follow up to another movie, we had to have liked the previous movie to go do this. Like,
yeah,
if we didn't like the last movie, we probably wouldn't have done this. And the last movie that takes place right before this one was excellent. It's a great movie. I mean, there's mixed reviews about it. Some people didn't like it. I thought it was a great fucking movie. And the characters were great. The writing was great. Just everything about the movie in general was pretty good. There's very little to complain about.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel like this one's the same way. There's very little to complain about this film. I liked it. Mike enjoyed it. Chrissy enjoyed it. We had a good time. It was just fucking weird, right?
Yeah, it is.
Fucking weird ass movie.
It's super weird. It's hard to explain. Just like you said. I mean, it's not a bad movie. It's good. Yep. There's just so much shit in this movie where it's so fucking weird that you're like, why?
Okay.
What is this? I mean,
there was at one point.
I usually like weird shit, but
Film,
it's hard to describe.
So me and Mike, when we're together, usually speak English, right? And we live in Germany, and so we're in a German movie theater. Mike's not exactly quiet when he says things; like it just kind of comes out. So we're sitting in this theater, and there's this one point in the movie where things have just gotten really strange. And Mike turns to me because he's sitting on my left, and he goes, "What the fuck?" I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, "What? I don't know. This is strange." But I'm not sure if it's the same director. But before we spoil the shit out of it, what movie are we doing, Mike?
20 years later, The Bone Temple. Yeah. Or as I like to refer to it as the weird ass fucking musical with a few zombies in it.
Yes. Yes. Title of the thumbnail is Weird Musical because that was the best thing we could come up with because the tone of this film is completely different than the last film. Like tonally, this thing is not even on the same level. The last movie, 28 years later, was very serious. There were no laughing parts. It was just a very almost depressing dystopian movie, right?
Yeah.
This movie, there are funny moments. There's laugh out loud moments. It doesn't necessarily take itself as seriously as the last film. There are some goofy parts to this. And then there are some choices where you're like, what the fuck? Am I still watching the same movie? Yeah. And that was kind of to be expected because the last film at the very end, when the main character, Spike, is traveling through the woods and meets this group of hoodlums called the Jimmies, right? Mm-hmm. It turns a little bit slapstick. And it's the only part in the movie where it's like, totally odd and a little bit crazy. And you're like, if that's what this next movie's going to be about, it's going to be a banger. And so you went into this expecting this group of hoodlums to just run across this landscape and destroy things and beat zombies with bats and do all sorts of crazy stuff. But that's not necessarily what happens, right?
Yeah.
But overall, I'm not going to say it was a letdown because it's not a letdown. It's just tonally completely different than the last movie.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's different. It's just it's hard to describe. It's hard to describe the movie. I enjoyed it. It was good. it was just not something you expect from a zombie apocalypse movie. Sometimes it feels like the movie tried to be Zombieland, and Zombieland was. Those two movies were meant to be fucking stupid, but that was funny about it. But it was
Oh, yeah.
supposed to be funny. That was what it was aiming for. And this movie is just like, I don't know. It felt to a certain degree that they tried to be similar to Zombieland. And the music aspects of it, where you're like sitting there like,
It's hard to dislike that part when you come to it, because it is, we'll get to that when we talk about it, but it is so off the wall that it comes off as almost an intermission from the film into something else.
Yeah.
But I will say,
yeah.
Thankfully, this is the metal horror podcast, so the musical scene that we get is top class heavy metal, which is great.
Yeah.
I was very happy they did what they did, very happy with the choice. If it had been anything else other than heavy metal, it would not have worked, and it would have come off as very fucking weird. Whereas with the heavy metal, it just comes off as a little bit weird. But I digress. Before we get into the movie, do you want to like go through the cast and everything?
Before that, if you like our show, please don't forget to hit the like button, give us a subscribe, and leave a comment.
Yeah,
because it really helps us out. Okay, well then let's get into the movie cast. Okay, now this is something we might spoil out just to begin with. What was suspected by a lot of people is that Cillian Murphy is actually in it again as Jim, but not until the end. Yes, but that was awesome and definitely the best reveal of the movie.
Yes.
Then we have Voldemort playing Dr. Ian Kelson, or his name is Ralph Fiennes. No?
Yeah, Ralph Fiennes, yeah.
We have Chi Lewis Perry playing Alpha Sampson, Aaron Kellyman playing Jimmy Inc. Emma Lard playing Jimmy Ma, Jack O'Connell playing Jimmy Crystal. I mean, that's the main Jimmy. Now the guy that also played
Jimmy, yeah.
Yeah, that also played the Vampire Lord in Sinners.
Right.
We have Maura Bird plays Jimmy Jones, Louis Ashbourne Circus, who plays Tom, Sam Laka, who plays Jimmy Fox, and Ghazi A. Rafai, who plays Jimmy Snake. And somehow Dumbass isn't in here. No, the actor who plays Dumbass.
His name.
What?
Alfie Williams is the actor's name.
Yeah, Alfie Williams, exactly. That's his name. Well, he plays Dumbass in this movie, and that's all I'm going to refer to him as.
Yes. Spike is no longer called Spike for us now. Spike is called Dumbass or Idiot.
Yeah, Dumbass.
And we'll
nothing
get to
against
that
the actor.
as
He's
to
probably
why.
a cool guy, but the character he plays is a complete fucking moron.
Yeah. And we said that as far as this character goes, this is probably not the dumbest protagonist you have in these kind of films, but definitely one of the dumbest. When we did the first episode for 28 years later, when we had to talk about this character, I'm not really sure how many times we called him dumbass or idiot, but we could probably do a count. Mike's Idiot compilation from episode 21.
We're going to see why Spike is an idiot. One of the dumbest characters I have seen in any zombie movies.
I just instantly did not really like him very much because he's a fucking idiot. This guy is an idiot for this decision alone. I'm sorry, at this point I can say Spike is stupid. There's only like the one thing that makes Spike a complete fucking idiot at the end, no? That kind of ruins it for me. The only thing that makes sense is Spike is a complete fucking idiot and has an IQ lower than room temperature.
So with that, Mike, does that continue into this film?
Absolutely, it's absolutely going to continue. And I would strongly disagree with you saying, well, this is not the biggest idiot. No, yes, he is. He is the biggest fucking idiot I so far have seen in a horror movie. I mean, because in a lot of other horror movies, when you see dumbass protagonists, it's just like a normal or smart person making dumb decisions. That's not the same thing as being dumb or being an idiot. Or people act these insanely stupid ways because of the situation they're put into. It's a very impulsive and reactive behavior. And people People don't think straight when they're scared. When they get into
It's
a
a fight or
important,
flight thing. That's normal.
yeah,
Horror
exactly,
movies built on
fight or
people
flight.
making stupid
People
decisions.
do not act logically; they just fully react,
Yeah.
and that is not a logical, irrational decision. That's just how people are. So, but this kid went out into a zombie apocalypse first to help his mom. Of course, he saw that literally everything all the adults were telling him his entire life is 10 times worse as they were telling him. The
Yeah.
entire world so far is overrun with zombies, and where he grew up is the only safe place to live he can say so far. And he sees all of that. He makes
Yeah.
it out of a zombie-infested world back to his home, says hi again, and then fucks off because he wants to see more of it.
Knowing full well that it's probably going to spell his doom eventually, because one person against this world alone, the way that it is not. It doesn't set up fair chances at all, and he knows that. But he just takes off.
I do not know how to describe how insanely stupid this guy is.
It's not just that, and I mean, we'll get to it when we start talking about the things that happen in the film. But there are multiple times throughout this film where this kid blatantly realizes that the situation he's in is the worst situation he could possibly be in, has multiple avenues of getting away, of ending this, and doesn't do it. And there's no explanation as to why. And it would be really easy to blame it on the fact that the situation is so chaotic and scary that he's in fight or flight mode, but he's not.
He's not.
He's
no.
just not thinking at all. So this movie could have lasted, maybe a half an hour if he had used his brain and decided to take a hike. But he doesn't and sticks around for it, and that makes no sense. And you're absolutely right. And the only thing is, that boils down to the fact that the kid's a moron.
Yeah. He is. He's a moron. He's just a complete fucking dumbass.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay. We pointed out that the main protagonist of this movie is a complete fucking idiot, and he has maybe 2 functioning brain cells. So he has 2 functioning brain cells, and one of them is barely working, and the other one is glitching half the time. So
that's the only way this movie is allowed to continue, is just bad choices all the way around. What's even worse is we see at the beginning of the film, well, the end of the last film, he meets up with this group of Jimmies, right? This is a cult. This is a cult led by a guy who's maybe 10 to 15 years older than everybody else in the group. So he's kind of the cult leader. And this guy is a complete fucking idiot too. He's a fucking moron. One of the biggest fucking morons to ever lead a group of people. And then everybody else that's underneath him, with the exception of maybe one person, are all idiots as well. And so it's a band of idiots running around the countryside, doing stupid things with this stupid ideology. And somehow this kid, Spike, who is also a dumbass, ends up with them. But at least he's got like a good heart, and the rest of them don't. And it's a recipe for disaster. I mean, not a whole lot. And maybe you can agree with this. Like this takes the story a little bit further in explaining things, which is something that we've never gotten. Let's ignore that the second film even exists, because the second film doesn't exist for me. It was a bad film, poorly written, poorly acted, scenario was stupid, just an all-around bad film. So let's ignore that. That movie didn't tell us much about the series or what these zombies actually are. This one finally, after every other movie came before it, kind of explains exactly what this virus is and what it does, which is a nice change.
What it does to the mind, at least. It explains what it does to the mind, but not necessarily what it does to the body, because those are 2 separate things. So, but even though it's pretty complicated, but yeah, you're right about that. It finally gives an explanation on it. Yeah.
Which is nice. I remember when the first movie came out, I saw it in theaters, and the whole advertising for that movie was finally running zombies, different type of zombie. These zombies are infected with rage, is what everybody said, right? And so what this does, this explanation kind of lends credence to that in a way that makes it very understandable. And now when you see what happens in this movie, it makes the zombies make a little bit more sense in every movie previous to this. Right. And I really like that. I think that's probably my favorite part of this movie. And it's not a stupid explanation, because a lot of zombie movies, you get a really lame explanation as to why this is happening. Or it's left unsaid completely.
A lot of them you do. Yeah. The only zombie series I can actually think of that gave a good explanation to it was, of course, the original George R. Romero Dead series,
Yeah.
And the remake, of course. And another one that done a good, Resident Evil, the video games at least, they had a good explanation for it. And the series All of Us Are Dead on Netflix.
Still haven't seen it. Gotta watch it.
Have to watch it. I mean, the thing is, it's their explanation is super simple. No? They're just zombies. They're undead zombies.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's a good explanation because it's simple. That's what they are. They're zombies. This virus was created. It turns people into zombies.
Okay.
I mean, it's just
I'm fine with that. I mean, you know how I am about horror movies, and sometimes explaining things away too much kind of ruins it, right?
Yeah.
It ruins the mystery of it. I'm fine with that. Just leave it as the fact that they're zombies, and I'm cool with it.
That's what I love about All of Us Are Dead. By the way, it's one of the best written zombie shows ever. It's, in my opinion, light years above The Walking Dead or The Last of Us. It's brilliant, no? And it's just like the zombies are clear undead. They're a mixture between Dawn of the Dead remake zombies and Resident Evil.
Which Resident Evil?
The movies. They're the games.
Okay.
The games.
Okay.
The games.
Okay.
That's kind of what they are. And what's also in All of Us Are Dead is pretty cool. Is it's not like in other zombie movies, where the infection happens the exact same way. Somebody dies and then they come back, but it's always the same time period. And there's a small thing you have to pay attention to when you watch All of Us Are Dead. If a person basically just gets bit in the finger or gets a few drops of blood in their system or whatever, it'll take entirely different for them to become zombies. Because there are some people that get bit in their neck and they'll turn instantly. Then there's another guy that just gets a few drops of blood into a scratch, and it takes multiple hours for him to become a zombie. How a virus would actually spread. Because depending on how much virus is getting into your system also has an effect on the incubation time. Well, that's brilliantly. But so watch All of Us Are Dead. It's brilliant.
Okay. I will then. We'll start watching that. When you said it multiple times and we've never gone and watched it, so I guess we'll watch it now. One thing about the virus here, and we've seen it throughout all of the films, this virus is so fast acting that you have no time to get away from the infected person. It is instant. They get bitten, they get sprayed with blood, anything. You've got seconds before these people change, right? This film kind of explains that a little better. We saw in the first film, there was a father and daughter team that followed the main protagonist and the other girl. He got blood in his eye from looking up at a dead zombie, and the blood dripped in his eye. He was instantly turned. But it doesn't show it on their body. They're not immediately rotted. They don't look disgusting. Their face just changes. Their expression changes. And it's almost like they're immediately infected with a kind of rage, right? Mm-hmm. And so we find out exactly what that is here. And that's what's cool. So this virus is super fast acting, but it affects the mind immediately. Not necessarily everything else, but immediately the mind and how the person or zombie perceives reality, which is really fucking cool. Mm-hmm. And we get that at the beginning of this film. So I'll just jump right into it because I'd really want to get to that part. If you remember the last film, for everybody who's seen it, Dumbass is running along the countryside, gets attacked by zombies, and runs into the group of Jimmies, right? The group of Jimmies start doing this kind of Clockwork Orange style fighting against the zombies. They beat the hell out of them, and then they take Jimmy in, or Dumbass in. And then this movie continues right from there, right? So what you get is the film opening where Spike is being held by this group of Jimmies in what looks like an abandoned swimming hall, like it's a big swimming pool, right? And they're all standing in the swimming pool. What are we calling main Jimmy? He's got to have a better name than
Let's call
whatever
him the
the
Red
fuck he calls
Ranger.
himself in this movie. What does he call himself? Huh?
I think Jimmy Lord or whatever, but let's just call him the Red Ranger.
Okay, the Red Ranger. All right, so Red Ranger. Okay. The Red Ranger is standing above the swimming pool while all the rest of his cronies are inside the swimming pool. There's kind of a death match going on between Spike, dumbass, and then one of the other Jimmies, right?
Yeah.
And the Red Ranger tells them that this is a fight to the death. There are no rules. You have to fight. If you survive, you can be part of the Jimmies, and if you die, then you die. So there's a little bit of a fight that goes on between dumbass and one of the other guys. One of the other Jimmies has a really big knife, and he's about to attack dumbass and says, "You know what? You're such a little kid. Fuck this knife." He puts the knife away and says, "Let's just go." And they just start fucking with him. It's kind of sad because these kids are all, like 16, 17, maybe 20 plus years old.
Yeah.
And Spike is probably what, 7, maybe 16, younger?
Oh, I would
15?
say probably at 14 to 16, somewhere
Yeah.
around that age.
Yeah, he's just a little kid. So
Yeah.
these older kids are just kicking him around, making
Yeah.
fun of him, teasing him with the knife, saying, "Pick it up." Every time he goes to try to pick up the knife, they step on it with their foot so he can't. They're just fucking with him and everybody's laughing. And it just seems really shitty. But then Spike, dumbass, gets a chance to pull the pants down of the guy who's fighting him. So he pulls his pants down, grabs a knife off the ground, and sticks him really quick. And it was kind of just a reaction, like it
A
was something
reaction.
that
He
he could do
reacted.
to get him away from him. Pulls down his pants and sticks him with a knife. When he sticks him with a knife, he actually nicks his artery, right? And so the guy's wound on his leg just starts spewing blood all over
Not
the place.
necessarily, because the other guy, he had the knife sticking in his leg, but the fucking idiot just takes the knife and pulls it out.
Yeah.
That's when it starts squirting blood.
Yeah.
Because that
Yeah.
when his artery.
If he'd
was
have
cut
left it in,
too.
he'd have been okay.
Yeah.
This just a note to anybody that's watching this: if you get impaled by something, don't pull it out. I know they do that in movies all the time. That is the absolute worst thing you could do. Leave the impaled object in the body and go to the hospital. Never pull it out. You're right. He pulls the knife out and immediately just starts spraying blood. And when you see blood spray like this, you know you've hit an artery. And the other girl that's in the group, that's one of the Jimmies, that is actually the only smart one, right? And we see that throughout the movie. She's actually somewhat intelligent, where everybody else is a fucking idiot. She says, "Well, you're dead now because he hit your artery." And the guy's just standing there staring at the blood spraying out of his leg, and then eventually falls over and dies, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now, because Spike, idiot, has killed this guy, he is now part of the group. So now he's a Jimmy, right? And has to wear the stupid fucking blonde wig that all the rest of them. Mike, where the fuck did they get these blonde wigs to? Like, they broke into a fucking Halloween store and took the shit.
I mean, the Red Ranger probably did that. He probably took. Yeah, I mean, the Red Ranger is a sociopathical narcissist.
And an idiot.
Yeah. Well, the lead Jimmy, an idiot, of course, sociopathical narcissist that thinks he's the son of the devil. Who knows if he actually believes it? He's a cult leader. So he's just manipulating these people. I would not necessarily call him an idiot. I would not necessarily call him an idiot, because cult leaders usually aren't stupid. Actually, the contrary. Yeah, but he just went with something that he thought he could get people to follow him as a religious figure. What is, I'm the son of the devil, and all of these zombies are demons, and we have to kill all the remaining humans and send them to hell, more or less. That is kind of the thing that the lead Jimmy is kind of telling these people. I mean, the other Jimmies.
Mike, if they really explained it in the first film, I mean, it's obvious that he is the kid that we saw at the beginning of the last movie, right?
Yeah.
The one whose father was a preacher and died in the church, and he blamed everything on God because his whole family was killed. And so this is that kid, right? He, I don't know, like he he is intelligent enough to be able to manipulate these kids because he is older and he's been around longer and he's obviously had to do this stuff on his own, but he is an idiot. He's an
Yeah.
idiot. He's just smarter than everybody else that's underneath him, right?
Yeah.
Um, and as far as him believing it, I think he does believe it. I think he does believe it.
Yeah.
There's a scene later where he's kind of explaining his past and what he thinks. He really does believe that he is the son of Satan and that his job is to rid the world of all the rest of the humans that are left and that are not infected. And he's gathered this group of young kids to do his bidding for him, right?
Mm.
Just a fucking psycho. I mean, he's crazy, but I mean, he's the product of this dystopia. I mean, if you could examine this world further, there's probably thousands of people just like him trying to take over groups of people to do their bidding for him. This is the way humans work,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I would not necessarily say that. I mean, the people that are living full out in the zombie apocalypse, maybe, but I would say, to a certain degree, one thing that I thought was kind of more realistic in The Walking Dead, for example, is
Hmm.
that certain people manage to barricade themselves and form a kind of community. And what you can also
Yeah,
see in the first movie, and I think to a certain degree, that would also be happening. But when it comes to Jimmy, his father was a religious fanatic. Now you can see that in the
yeah,
beginning. I mean, of course, because his
yeah,
father was a preacher, and to a certain degree, if you're a strong, realist, religious person, you see a zombie apocalypse happening. Of course, it's obvious how a preacher can come to the conclusion, okay, these are the end times and blah blah blah. But I do believe, considering the way his father acted, that his father was a religious fanatic, and to a certain degree, he probably put that on his kids as well. And
yeah.
this is also something Jimmy mentions later on that he saw when his father got attacked by the zombies. When he became a zombie, he just ran out the church and all the other zombies are following him.
Right.
You know, that's what actually, if because he was brought up himself very religiously in that moment, because he saw all of the zombie is not really happening, but from his perspective, all of the other zombies were following his father, so he believed his father was actually the devil, and he's risen all of these demons. And if you go out as an 8-year-old with that belief into the world, that's why he becomes. You could call Jimmy literally a religious fanatic.
Yes. Yeah.
That what he is. Yeah. I mean,
Just in the opposite direction.
yeah.
He's a Satanist. Uh,
Yeah.
Not the Levian Satanism, but the actual monotheistic Satanist, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it's actually really well studied the way that they did this character because his attitude towards everything and the way that he believes is actually the way monotheistic Satanism works. So he is actually a Satanist with a group of kids that do his bidding for him, which is that's the way monotheistic Satanism is.
Yeah.
So it's the dynamic there is very interesting though, because there's a lot of how do you say this without being political? There's a lot of things that are talked about in this film all the way up to the end that kind of hint at a cult of personality and how that can control the world and how the ideology of being someone who feels like they're a leader can lead entire civilizations to ruin. And when we get to the end and we get to see Cillian Murphy's character again, he's teaching his daughter about World War II and what led up to World War II and all that kind of stuff. It's just an echo of what Jimmy is. Jimmy is just chaos. That's all he is. He's chaos. And he has this group of
Mm.
kids which are doing his bidding for him, and now he has one more. Although Spike, and we talked about this before we started filming, Spike is kind of an unwilling participant in all of this. Um, he's in a spot where he feels like he's trapped. And that's apparent from the moment he has to put on the wig and becomes a Jimmy just like the rest of them. He's not willfully complying with this behavior. He's not following it. He doesn't believe it. He's trapped. He's just a trapped person in this group. And that's kind of how we go through the movie with him is this unwillingness to participate, does not like what's going on, but then at the same fucking time, Mike does not try to get away. And that bugs the shit out of me.
He
Right. Just
doesn't
like it
try to get
bugs you.
away, and he doesn't try to do anything. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, because there are multiple scenarios where he could have just, ran. I mean, later on he tries, but he gets caught. Even when he tries to get away, he manages to be a complete fucking idiot about it. He just because he just walks normally, like duh, 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 and it's like I would be running, Matt.
Yeah.
I would be running as fast as I can.
Yeah.
I would run until I was so fucking exhausted I couldn't run anymore. Then I would cool down for a few seconds and then start walking normally.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
He doesn't even
however,
try.
he's a dumbass.
He's also
just-
really bad at making excuses too. Like he tries to talk his way out of a situation in this film with the Red Ranger, and it goes very badly for him. Like he's just not very good at anything. This kid is not good at anything. He's good at shooting a bow and arrow, but he doesn't even fucking do that in this film. Like there's no time where he defends himself well at all. And for that reason, like I told you when we left the theater yesterday, I was like, I would have liked to have seen more of Spike and gotten more of his character. But you just kind of see this kid in this movie, but that's all you do. You just kind of see him.
No, I don't hate him, but I don't give a fuck. I don't care if he's in the next movie either. I mean, because after his actions, every single fucking thing that happens to this guy, every single time, I'm like, it's your own fucking fault, you idiot.
Yeah.
Everything.
You're right.
I'm sorry, but really, everything that happens to Spike is his own fucking fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
You're right.
yeah. And
You're right.
okay, well, it starts off with him and the Jimmies, they go off. This is a situation where I think in his position, the most people would have done probably what he did. But the most people probably would have waited for a window where they could escape.
Yeah.
And then they would have gotten the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Or something. And it's just like he barely even tries. There are two instances where he does try, but he talks, but also makes him look like a complete fucking idiot because he says, "Please take me with you. Please take me with you. God damn it. Just let her open the fucking door and then run after her."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll get to that part too. It doesn't make any sense. And I don't know if that's the fault of the writer or if that's just being neglectful of your main character or whatever, but what he does makes no sense. He's not that petrified, scared to death to where he can't make a decision. There are multiple times, as we said earlier, where he could have gotten away and he didn't. And I don't understand it. But thankfully, he's not the focus of the movie at all.
Yeah.
Like he is basically sidelined as a character until the end. Which is great, right? Because he sucks. He's an idiot. The next scene we get, and this is the one that I wanted to talk about. We go back to the alpha, the big naked alpha. Like, not to like
Alpha
disappoint any of the women who were looking forward to see this movie because this guy is naked most of the film, right? But the alpha, Samson, as he's been named by Ralph Fiennes' character, is in the woods, and there's a lone hunter who is out hunting food, right? We don't know where this guy is from. He's just a random guy. He's out hunting. The alpha sees him, and the alpha attacks him, right? Samson knocks him down. The guy hits the ground, and then for the first time in this entire series, you see through Samson's eyes, who's infected, what this guy looks like to Samson, right? And what this guy looks like to Samson is a monster. So he doesn't look like a human. When you see through Samson's eyes, this guy lying on the ground, this guy's face is distorted, has teeth, is growling, and looks like a monster. So, of course, if you see that, it's threatening to you, so you want to kill it. And that's what Samson does. He kills this guy. And then this is also the first time we see them eating brains, too, Mike, I want to point out. And maybe it's just an alpha thing. Yeah,
yeah, it could be because the other zombies are sitting back eating, and he's eating the brain. Yeah,
the brain. Yeah, specifically eating the brain. This movie is also a lot gorier than the last one too. Like it's not a rough watch, maybe for people like you and me, but for other people who maybe went into this just expecting typical zombie stuff, this is pretty graphic. But he kills this guy because through his eyes he sees a monster, and that's the first time we've seen this in this series. So he does what he always does that we knew about from the last film. He pulls the head out with the spine, and then we see him crack open the skull and begin eating the brains, specifically just the brains. And that might also be something that has to do with the fact that he's an alpha. I feel like maybe the alphas feed on the brains, and that might be why they are what they are. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Could
I
be.
mean, you can think about it any way you want to think about it.
You can make multiple. You can make
After
multiple
that
theories
scene,
about
we
this.
cut immediately to yeah. The next scene we get is of Dr. Ian Kelson, who is the doctor who owns the ossuary, the bone temple.
Yeah.
And he's just hanging out, doing exactly what he was doing in the last film, looking all red in the middle of a field, listening to music, right? And he's waiting on Samson to show up because he's been between the last movie and this movie. He's obviously been conducting more experiments with Samson to try to figure out exactly what this disease is. He might be the only person on the planet who's still trying to figure out what this thing is and how to control it, right? At least you get that idea.
Mm.
What's odd though, Mike, and I thought about this morning. I didn't think about it last night. There's a whole world outside of England that is apparently normal, right?
Yeah.
England has been cordoned off.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then they have scientists that are working with this disease to try to figure out exactly what it is, how to stop it. You would think they may have come up on the exact same thing that this doctor does. But if that was the case, they would have maybe tried to fix it, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, you don't know if it is actually any scientists are putting any how much research they put into it, because also be blocked off by how much funding it is getting or whatever. And if you take into consideration what happened in 28 weeks later, what they were trying to do in this military facility, it's easy also you can say that the majority of governments thought it's too dangerous, because if you want to do research on this virus, you have to have the virus. And if it breaks out somewhere, they see what happened to England, and it started happening in Europe as well, and they contained it. So it could be that they already have samples of this virus. It could be that they're working on it, and they may have come to some kind of conclusion and know a little bit about it, but that actually depends on how much it would be able to be mass produced or to somehow fix it or whatever. Because if you see what happened in England, this is a fucking super dangerous virus, beyond anything anybody would see. So I could absolutely imagine that the majority of governments and scientists would just be too scared to try anything on a large scale, because seeing what happened to England and the fact that it was contained, and they know the only place where this is going on in England is, I would say, difficult. I thought that what they would have done, because it's never really said if this has also happened in Ireland. Now that's something that I always thought.
I mean, I would assume the entire UK. I would assume it's the entire UK because Jimmy's character is Irish.
Yeah.
So he's got. I mean, you don't. We saw it in German, so you don't get the accent, but his character himself has a very Irish accent. So I would assume Ireland is in the UK. It's probably infected as well.
What I think they would do is similar to 28 weeks later, that they would set up a military facility somewhere and then do the research there. That's what I think they would do. But that's not what they're doing, because the other soldiers said that 28 years later.
Yeah, 28 years later.
The island is seen as a quarantine zone. Anybody who steps a foot on that island is not let off. So the government is basically probably multiple governments have the UK island under surveillance, and anything that tries to leave gets shot down. Now, personally, what I think they are doing is that the majority of governments probably want to nuke it or put some fucking biological weapon down on it, but they know that there still are survivors there, and that might be the reason why they're not doing it.
Right.
But it could have also just been that the rest of the world just wrote it off. England, they just wrote it off, and
that's kind of what I'm thinking. But at the same time, this doctor that Ralph Fiennes' character, he is a crazy dude. Like and that's probably just due to the fact that he's been off by himself for so long, right?
Yeah.
But he still has medical knowledge of what could possibly be causing this. If it is viral, then there are different types of viruses, of course. There's ones that affect the mind, there's ones that affect the body. He has become positive at this point, and it's apparent from this scene right here, as well as every scene that follows it, that he believes that this is something that primarily affects the brain, right? So, and it's not necessarily something that takes over the brain, corrupts it, and ruins it, right? And he knows this because he's observed Samson doing things that normal humans would do. And his behavior is also something that's indicative of a creature that can learn, right?
Yeah.
Because the last movie we saw him, every time Samson showed up, he hit him with a dart immediately, which tranquilized him and made him just this big, stupid piece of meat, right?
Yeah.
In this movie, we see the same scene. Samson is coming towards him. He has the blow dart gun ready to hit him, but shows Samson that he has it and he's not going to hit him with it if he behaves. So Samson kind of stops, thinks a little bit, cautiously continues forward, and then gets a little bit more aggressive. Like you see the rage coming on again. And then Ralph Fiennes' character, the doctor, has to shoot him with a blow dart gun to get him to calm down, right? And eventually, as we continue to see this, he does not hit him immediately with it. More often, he just holds it down and says, okay, come on. He's trying to get the creature to understand that he's not a threat and that he is a friend. And if you can get these creatures to understand that, then there is something going on up here. And if there is something going on up here, then that can be fixed. And he's realized that at this point.
Yeah, but
right?
also he also hints later on in the movie what he's doing is he's studying them. You can clearly see that, and later on he says a lot of things that clearly hints towards that he's been studying the zombies for years because he's convinced that it's an infection and that he can do something against it.
Right. But one of the things, and I didn't really catch what was going on. I think at the beginning of this movie, you see the doctor, before you see anything else, you see the doctor dragging the body of the woman, the infected from the last movie who is pregnant. Remember in the train car? He grabs her body and takes it to the bone temple. And then when he catches Samson, he explains to him, I need something from you. And I don't know if the two were connected. Did you catch anything there about that? What was that all about?
I
Do you
might
think
have
he
been
just
the
wanted to
pregnant
polish
wife.
the bones and put them up?
Yeah, I just think he wanted to. You mean the doctor or Samson?
The doctor. The doctor was dragging the body of the infected zombie pregnant woman.
That's because that's just what he's been doing the last 30 years. When he finds dead people of infected and non-infected alike, he takes them, cremates their body, and builds these things with their bones. So for him,
Okay,
it was just another.
I thought maybe there was something connected there.
No,
okay.
I just thought it was
anyway,
for the doctor and normal too.
He tranquil. Yeah. This is where the movie gets a little weird. This is where Mike was like, "What the fuck?" Because we get kind of a look down into where this doctor lives, which we didn't get in the first movie. He's actually got a bunker that's set up like a little tiny house that's under the ground. He's got a record player. He's got pictures of his family up and stuff. And he's able to play records and listen to music. And he's obsessed with music, specifically 80s music, which makes sense because at the time that this virus actually hit, it was late 90s?
But you can count it back to now is 2026, 28 years later, 1998.
Yeah. So 1998. Right.
Yeah.
So that music that he's listening to was popular at that time, and that's why he's kind of obsessed with it. But he sings songs to himself. He dances by himself, which we didn't see in the first movie. And what he likes to do now is tranquilize Samson and dance with Samson, which is really fucking strange.
Yeah, and it's
really fucking strange. He gets Samson good and tranquilized and happy. Yeah. And then he dances with Samson on the Bone Temple to 80s music that is in his head. It's almost like a pirouette. Like they dance. He holds Samson's hands and dances around with him. And me and Mike were both watching this like, what the fuck is going on? Mike turns to me and goes, dude, what the fuck is this? It's a really odd scene.
This is the first time where it kind of becomes a musical, where you're sitting there like, I expected a lot, specifically with the lunatic Power Rangers on the loose, but but this, Why? And
I,
even the song, not nothing against the song. I like the song. It's like if I won't cry for yesterday.
yeah,
I can't remember the artist or the name, but great song
yeah,
by the way. Yeah,
it's Duran Duran, and
yeah,
it's Duran Duran, and then somebody else. I can't remember. Maybe
yeah,
Tears
yeah.
for Fears. Tears for Fears, I think.
Maybe great song by the way, but still.
Yeah,
In this situation, you're like, what? I mean, what the fuck is this?
don't know.
Dances with the alpha zombie. Like,
We should have named this movie "Dances with Alphas," like Dances with Wolves.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe that should have been the thumbnail. Dances with Alphas.
yeah, but it doesn't fit.
Uh,
That's it.
it's too long for the
Yeah,
thumbnail. Yeah.
yeah.
I think this is just to kind of show that this guy is extremely lonely, and has been alone for a very long
Yeah.
time, and has found ways to keep himself occupied. Plus, he feels like he can get this alpha to start acting like a normal human being, and he's not wrong. And that's
Yeah.
kind of the flip in this movie, is that you discover that yes, this virus is something that affects the mind. It does destroy the body as well, but these people are not completely lost. And it may not just be the alphas. It could also be the normal zombies that are running around. Maybe they could
Unknown.
also be fixed. We don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's never really explained, but it's obvious at this point that he's been experimenting with Samson for quite a long time, and that he's been trying to figure out exactly what's going on. We find out that the thing that he's been tranquilizing Samson with is morphine.
Morphine.
Um,
They're not only.
and
It's a
that
mixture. It's a mixture of multiple things, but it's also morphine.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
but morphine
Morphine.
morphine was the main ingredient, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the doctor is running low on morphine, and he says as much. He's like, "You're a really big guy, and I had a decent stock of morphine, and unfortunately, that is the main ingredient in the stuff that I'm shooting you with, and I am running low. So we have a very limited time to figure out exactly what's going on." And that's kind of said, right? This interaction is pretty interesting because we have not seen up until now in this series anyone try to figure out what is going on or
Mhm.
see these things as anything else other than zombies, rage zombies
Yeah,
specifically,
they're
right?
called. They're never meant. They're never actually referred to as zombies. They're also always called
Yeah,
the infected. Yeah,
infected, right?
but this is not. But first comes the
Yeah,
scene where he has Samson tranquilized, but wants to put Samson to sleep. He has something in his syringe. No, and he's like, yeah. He
yeah,
says, yeah. What I can do for you, Samson, is because I'm in row, is I can give you peace.
yeah,
And just give me some sign that this is what you want. And but Simpson is just sitting there laying on the floor. I mean, this is like the first zombie movie where you see a stone zombie. Kind
yeah.
of funny.
He's high as fuck on morphine, man. Yeah,
Yeah, he's high on morphine. Then the doctor sticks the syringe in, wants to put Samson to sleep, and then Samson says the moon, and then he pulls out the
yeah,
syringe because he heard
yeah,
Samson speak. Huh?
right.
And that was where it's like, okay, that is where the doctor for himself saw a kind of breakthrough. Then he goes back to a desk where he says, okay, Samson, I was actually originally planning to do this later on. I wanted to do it slower out, but I'm going to try something now, experimental. And you can see him fucking around with some kind of pills or whatever. So this is
Right.
what indicates, because this doctor has been, building up his bone temple, kind of doing this thing as a cemetery for the dead, honoring
Mhm.
them. But also at the same time, he's been studying the zombies, and you
Right.
can clearly see he's in his down working on notes or whatever. So he has probably mapped out and worked on what this virus could possibly be or whatever. And not only did he get morphine, he got other multiple other antibiotics and other anti-medicines, probably for psychosis or
Yeah,
whatever. And he was kind of mixing around with this stuff, thinking that he could somehow fix it. And he says, so he tries these medications out on Samson and
right.
gives them to him.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow.
Right. And he also notes that up until now, up until recently, he's been giving him antibiotics because every time Samson shows up, he's destroyed. He's got marks all over his body. He's, got cuts, usually probably from, attacking animals or getting attacked by normal people or whatever. So it's been antibiotics up until this point. And at this point, we don't see him giving him any new medication. He's just talking about it. Because right after he says that and decides not to put Samson down because Samson said the word moon, we cut to the scene where Sir Jimmy or the Red Power Ranger uh, attacks a farm, right? It's basically a farm, but we see the people that belong to kind of this safe area because it's got a big fence around it, the area where they live. It's like a big, huge fence around a couple of houses and possibly a farm. There's 3 of them, and they're out hunting for food for the day. And this is where we get the scene of another idiot. There's throwaway characters in this, and this is another one of those guys.
Yeah.
There's 3 people out hunting. They're looking for deer, and they come across some infected. And it's just one infected, and it's walking there by itself. It's a woman. One of the guys says, "Shit, there's an infected. We have to kill her before she can scream, because if she screams, she's gonna alert all the other infected to come to that area." Right. So what does this guy do, man? The only thing he's got in his hand is kind of this pitchfork sort of thing that he's made out of like wood. It's like a staff with a whole bunch of jabby ends on it. And he runs up to her and he sticks her with it. But before he sticks her with it, he looks at her, gives her like a good 5 seconds to scream, and then sticks her with it. Like you knew your only job was to run up to this thing and put it down as quick as possible, but you hesitated.
Dude, I mean, it
She
was stupid. It
screamed
was
and
stupid
alerted
as shit
everybody.
because it was stupid as shit because this was one fucking zombie that was running in the other fucking
Yeah.
direction and hadn't noticed them yet, and they were hiding.
Yeah.
The best thing
Yeah.
what this idiot should have done is to make sure that it's running in the other fucking direction.
Yeah.
That way, all they would have done is to wait like 2, 3, or 5 minutes. It would have been gone, and then he could have quietly walked back. I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't have even
Yeah.
attacked the zombie. I would have just let it walk away because it would have been too
Yeah.
risky for me.
Yeah. I mean, that the risk assessment there was not done. This is stupid as fuck. This is a basically throwaway scene where one person almost got the rest of the group killed by doing something stupid, but it's plot armor because this had to happen, right?
Yeah.
So he waits 5 seconds before he stabs the zombie. The zombie screams. Of course, this alerts all the other infected in the area to run towards there. Not only does he not kill her, but she is not completely dead and continues to scream as they run away. The guy who did not stab her quick enough is not a very good runner, so he's stuck at the back and gets attacked by other zombies. He's now dead, right?
You know he's infected. He
Um,
becomes a zombie.
Yeah, he's dead, but he becomes a zombie. And this is another one of those scenes where we get how quick this virus takes effect, right?
Yeah.
He gets bitten. There's like literally 4 seconds that go by and he's already infected and one of them, right?
Yeah.
So the zombies
he
are
gets
chasing
he
them
gets
back
blood-
to their little compound.
Well, he doesn't
Huh?
get bitten. He gets blood split in his face.
Ah, right. I forgot that was a thing in this movie. So these zombies are actually spitting blood actively in people's faces to
That's
infect
true,
them.
but that's also not how he got infected. He slit him with his knife, and blood splat into his face.
Ah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we see the blood spitting later, right?
When he gets infected and becomes a
So
zombie.
he's infected and he chases them
Yeah.
down with the rest of the zombies. Yeah.
Yeah.
They make it back to their compound in time to lock the gate and get back inside. So they're safe, or at least they think so, because when they show up and they walk in the house, they realize that the Jimmies have taken over the compound, right?
Yeah.
And so this is a scene that is kind of there just to show you what type of power Jimmy has over the other people that are in his group. They're all wearing the blonde wigs. They all respond to the name Jimmy. He calls them all Jimmy, plus usually one word after the word Jimmy to like denote who's who. They do whatever he says. So he is sitting at the table in this person's house, with all of them sitting at the table eating these people's food. And when the other 2 people walk in, there's an older man who stayed back in the compound, and he obviously is flustered and worried. Like he's not a happy looking guy. Like he knows something's up. She asks Jimmy, "What are you doing here?" And Jimmy's like, "Well, we were invited in, and we're sitting down and having a conversation and eating food and just being normal people." The older guy says, "No, I didn't let him in. They just came in, and took over everything." And so Jimmy kind of tries to make this seem like everything's okay, like he's not going to do anything. This guy gets off on making people feel awkward and shitty before he kills them, right?
Yeah.
And so he's telling this
Yep,
one
yep.
girl who's part of the group. She's the only one who looks a little bit different. She's got like these fairy wings on her back, right?
Yeah, the
And obviously
Jimmy Mia.
mentally disturbed. Yeah,
Yeah.
this chick is
Harley
mentally
Quinn.
disturbed.
We can
She's
call
not
her
a
Harley
normal
Quinn.
person. Harley Quinn, sure. I'll buy that. So this chick is disturbed. She's not. You get the feeling that all of these people that are following Jimmy are not quite right in the head. Anyway, they're all a little bit of a
think
misfit.
probably, but also I think it's a zombie apocalypse. You see in the beginning how he recruits these people, and by being around Jimmy so
Yeah.
long through the shit he forces them to go through, and through definitely clear emotional manipulation he does with these people, they go fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And but another thing, what makes this kind of Harley Quinn character stand out is I kind of had the feeling that she was his concubine.
Yeah, I got that too.
Because she gets killed later on, and you can instantly see that Jimmy is instantly pissed off. This is like the only emotional reaction
Oh yeah,
you ever see this guy have to somebody dying. What clearly shows that he was somehow intimate with her. How? Who knows? No.
it's kind of a giveaway thing. They don't really say it, but it's obvious there's something going on between those two. But she's also very childlike. At least mentally, she kind of acts like what you would expect from like a 9-year-old, 10-year-old girl, right? Jimmy is obsessed with the Teletubbies, and because nobody has TVs anymore, he tells the story of what happens in the show, the Teletubbies, over and over and over again. And his group of kids basically sit there all wide-eyed listening to his story every time he tells the story. And then he has her specifically act out the dance that Tinky Winky does in the show. He's like, hey, do the Tinky Winky dance. And then she'll start doing the exact same Tinky Winky dance that you see in the Teletubbies. And it's just extremely fucking weird, dude. It's extremely weird. And the whole group's like loving it the whole time she's doing it, but it just comes off as really fucking odd. And you think that this girl might actually be a little bit off in the head and maybe a little bit soft. Turns out she's not. She's actually one of the more dangerous ones in the group.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. Besides, I would say, definitely one of the most dangerous ones in the group.
One of the most dangerous ones, yeah. And so he has her do her dance. The woman that came in from the hunting party stops it, and she says, you can't be here. You have to go. This is not okay. Get out. And he's like, well, I mean, we'll leave. We'll leave. Don't worry about that. But first we're going to eat, and then we're going to kill you, is what he says. Right. The whole time, Spike is one of these kids in this group with this stupid blonde wig on. He's not saying anything, doing anything. He's just sitting there in horror the whole time. Right.
Yeah.
They take this group, which there's something about the scene that I don't like. There is a guy in this who's one of the guys that's being held captive there in this house. And he is a big 6'5", huge dude. Like he looks like he can fight back pretty well, but he doesn't do anything.
Yeah, Matt, this is kind of like,
what the fuck?
You can't just say just because of a guy's size. You do know that, from my experience, usually in real life, the most guys that are very, very big are often also very soft-hearted. So you can't just say, yeah, just because he's a big guy, he can fight back, actually means he would. I mean, I'm sorry, Matt, but come on.
Well, no, here's the thing. If you size up a situation like that.
Did you not notice that he was the one that initiated the fight back against him to begin with?
What do you mean? Where?
Because after Jimmy says that he's going to kill all of you, no?
Yeah.
He takes a pot of boiling water and throws it at them.
Yeah.
Notice that?
Yeah.
But then there's also
I did notice that, but I mean.
But you also take consideration, it kind of hints towards that the pregnant woman is his wife, and this is his.
Yeah, she is.
And these are all people that come in.
We didn't mention that either, that she's pregnant.
And and these are also people that come in with weapons that are holding them hostage. Yeah, and it's also just to fucking fight back, Matt, in that situation specifically, might be a little bit stupid, because even if you would be able to take on these people, by the way, there's 7 or 8 people, and you could be like a 6'5" guy. Matt, he's not military trained like you are. He could risk of somebody in his family getting hurt. So just say like,
Maybe.
I mean-
I'm just saying these guys would have never made it in my house, dude. They would have never made it in my house. But you're right. I do take it back. He does fight back. He's the only one that does, right?
Yeah.
His only mistake here with this boiling pot of water is that he didn't throw it on anybody, right? It's a
just threw it-
boiling pot of soup or water or something like that on the stove. He
Yeah.
picks it up right after Jimmy says that he's going to kill everybody and throws this boiling pot of water or soup onto the table. He doesn't throw it on anyone. It's just in the center of the table.
I mean, I would.
You could have taken out at least 2 people with that, and he didn't.
I mean,
and I
no,
can't figure that out.
He shouldn't have stopped there. He should have taken the fucking pan and hit Jimmy over the
Yeah,
head with it.
exactly.
I mean,
What the fuck?
just full power go boom, and then on to the next fucking guy. Because the point is, with a lot of these people, if you take the Red Ranger out, we're not gonna know what the fuck to do anymore.
Yeah.
Because if you have like if you're in trouble with a large group of people, cut off the head of the snake.
Yeah.
Cut off the person that is the one calling shots because the others were not going to know what to do, and you can use that chaos to take out the other ones.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's what disappoints me
But
about
it's
this
all-
scene, Mike, because not only is this guy bigger and stronger than everybody else, but Jimmy's back is turned to him the whole fucking time. Jimmy
Yeah,
is sitting in the chair. Well, the Red Ranger is sitting in the chair in front of him with his back to him the whole time. He could have dumped that on Jimmy's head and that would have caused chaos. And then he could have whomped 2 or 3 of them with that big fucking pan. But instead he chooses to throw it in the middle of the table. And I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
Irritating scene for me. I just like, come on, dude. The people in horror movies do dumb shit sometimes. It's just not explainable. Anyway, the fact that he didn't react the way that he should have has kind of sealed their doom.
Yeah.
Because the next scene we get, Jimmy's group has taken everyone in that house to the barn and strung them up by their hands from ropes on the ceiling and tied their feet together, and now they can't move. They're just hanging there. And this is where I'm thankful. There's something I can say about horror movies, and maybe you agree. Like, horror movies can be sadistic, and they can be gory, and they can be something that makes you not feel very good, especially when people are tortured.
Yeah.
I don't like the Saw movies for that reason. I don't like what's the other one? Hostel. I just feel like those are kind of throwaway movies because you're just torturing innocent people. I don't really get off on that. I don't really think that's great. They do it in this movie too, but you don't necessarily see it. Like,
Yeah,
you
but
do
also
see
it's a
it, but
different
you
thing.
don't see it, right?
How some of this movie is different. Saw is differently because in Saw, it's just like these are people that, might do shitty things, but nothing that would justify what's happening to them, by the way, in the Saw, for example.
Right.
And also it kind of just Saw very often portrays whatever the guy's name is, the killer, not that is organizing all these things, as a kind of morally gray character, how he's portrayed in this. And this is also something that I didn't like about the Saw movies, because he's torturing people just because they don't follow his worldview, just because they act in situations that he sees as unethical or unmoral, and that's what bothered me with the Saw movies, by the way, is also something I would say to a certain degree with modern writing, where they try to write every single fucking character as morally gray. Saw is a prime example of this. They try to write the main antagonist as morally gray, but he's just evil. There's no way to put it out. I mean, he might have his reasons to why he became the way he did. Nevertheless, behavior is just evil.
It's psychotic and evil. Yeah.
Yeah, that's morally gray. That's why. How should I say? It might go off a little bit off the rails here, but I do not personally dislike morally gray characters. When it comes to modern writing, if I see a lot of modern stories written, it's just a poor excuse to glorify evil characters. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
I'm with you on that. Yeah.
But it gives it more nuance, why they're acting this way, and who cares? These actions of these people. Prime example of this, I'm going to bring it up more than once, Game of Thrones. None of the characters in that show.
I knew that was coming.
I know. I know. I hate the fucking show. That's for me the prime example of modern morally gray characters. None of these characters are morally gray. They're all evil. I don't care what people tell me. But what I want to bring out with that's kind of thing that bothered me a little bit with Saw, even though I saw the majority, and they're not bad movies, but that's the thing that kind of bothered me. What here is done differently is that the Jimmies or the Red Rangers, they're not portrayed as morally gray. They're complete
No, they're evil
fucking
as fuck.
they're evil. They're complete fucking psychos, and they're being portrayed as evil. And it's clearly being portrayed that it's not good what these people are doing. These people did not deserve any of this.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the different thing you have going on. The difference between this and like the Saw. What makes
You're right.
Yeah.
I think with new horror, we've kind of gone that direction where it's interesting to try and make the bad guy seem intelligible, to try to make him seem somewhat sympathetic, right? And that gets the audience kind of riding that line between evil and correct. But I don't have any of that. I think morally gray is it's exactly that. Most of the time it's just evil. It's a very warped idea of what is right. Your moral construct is fucked up. You're not a good person. I feel the same way about Saw. These guys are absolutely insane, but the thing that I like about this movie is I didn't need to see the skin ripped off of these people, right? Like I don't it's not that I don't like gore. I do like gore. I'm a gore hound, right? I love that kind of shit. But I don't need to see these innocent people tortured.
I mean, yeah, it's
Huh?
also it is. I agree with you on that. This scene really bothered me. There are often scenes in horror
Yeah.
movies where I have to.
Oh,
walk
I saw
away.
you. You turned your head.
Yeah. Where I had to turn my head in this scene just because I don't know. Every time you see something like this happen, it kind of feels like it's happening to yourself, and it's
Yeah.
just like gotta look away. I just.
Yeah.
But even though I agree with you on that point, these are just innocent people. They have built up a small
Yeah.
community. They're living their lives. They're not harming anybody. You can clearly see that none of these people have any combat training. They can't even fight.
No.
They
Yeah.
survive by going very quietly through the woods. These are all people that cannot fight. They
Right.
somehow managed they somehow managed to build to barricade their farm and survive for decades with this mindset. I'm going to be
Yeah.
honest. That's a fucking achievement for these type of people. Yeah. So
Yeah, of course it is.
what kind of also makes these characters kind of interesting that you manage as a pacifist to survive in this kind of shit. No?
Yeah.
That's what kind of
Right.
made this group of people interesting to me. But even though they just seem to be good people, why it kind of makes it specifically bad. And I agree with you. I did not have to see them being tortured to this extreme. You could have just showed their screams or whatever, or Spike
No.
running out of the barn and puking,
Yeah.
and then you would have known what's happening in there now. So
Yeah. I didn't need to see it. But I mean, thankfully they didn't really show it quite
Yeah.
like you saw the knife going in the first guy that they wanted to cut open, right, and rip his skin off, but they didn't show it. You heard it, but you didn't see it. And I was thankful for that because I feel bad for the characters. I really do. And so they don't show it. You just kind of hear the skin being peeled off. Of course, Spike's character has probably never seen anything like this before. And of course is not one of these kids that was brought up by Jimmy. So he's not desensitized by this kind of behavior yet.
Yeah.
And so when he sees this, he runs out of the barn and starts throwing up immediately. Like he is completely taken aback by this. He feels physically ill, goes outside and throws up. The other girl that's in the group, that someone also seems like she doesn't buy all of this shit that Jimmy is talking about. She's also a little bit more intelligent than everybody else. She follows him outside and goes, "What are you doing?" And Spike says, I can't see this. I can't handle it. I feel sick. I cannot be in there. Do not make me go back in there. And instead of being like the rest of these people that are part of Jimmy's group, she kind of understands and she's like, you know what? It's okay. It's all right. Just stay out here and don't make any noise. Just stay out here and everything will be okay. And Jimmy's like, okay. And this is the fucking part, Mike, where he had his first opportunity to run away and he didn't do it.
yes.
Why? You could say it's because he's so like destroyed from what just happened that he's not thinking correctly. But I think any other human being at this point, even though this was going on, would have tried to get as far away from this fucking place as they could have, and he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. No, and yeah, of course. And, however, but he just sits down and sits there, and he sits out there with, I think, the other girl. No, and they're
Yeah.
just sitting there.
She stays
Now,
with
by
him.
the
Yeah.
way, she didn't run out with him. She was sent out by the Red Ranger to do something. Yeah, and when she was out running around, she saw the crazy Doc dancing with Samson.
Right. 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 Right.
Then she
Right.
went back. Then she went back to the farm, and then that is where she met Dumbass. Huh? Okay, and then her and Dumbass
Right.
are just sitting outside, doing just sitting outside. Then it gets back into the barn, now where the Red Ranger now attempts to recruit one of the people of this group, and he makes the same. He says, pick which one of my people you want to fight, and if you win, you get to join us.
Yeah.
If you lose, you die. Well, and if you don't decide at all, you're going to die too. Yeah?
Yeah.
So it's like an impossible situation for this guy. Yeah. So he just looks at the one that he sees as the weakest,
Yeah.
and I'm going to fight her. Yeah. More or less. Yeah.
Yeah. Which he picks
then the
Pixie
fight-
Girl,
Pixie.
Harley Quinn.
Yeah, Harley Quinn. Now, however, then the Red Ranger cuts him down and gives him a knife, and then the fight starts between him and Harley Quinn. Well, Harley Quinn takes him out. No, like she
Dude,
stabs him multiple
this
times.
woman is an evil bitch, dude. Like
Absolutely.
she's dangerous as fuck.
I mean, you can clearly see that these people these kids are experienced in fighting, being around Jimmy all the time, and she instantly just fucks this guy up totally. Yeah, stabs him a few times, and then he's laying on the floor. And this is also where kind of creepy, where she kind of hints towards that she actually kind of wants to rape him. That's how. You got to cut that one out. What I just said. No.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
She basically wants to fuck him. Yeah.
Yeah.
She wants to fuck him before she kills him, which
However,
is twisted fuck.
In this entire time, you see like the pregnant woman sitting up on the other floor, watching all of this, looking at a hook. Yeah.
Which
And
we
then
didn't
after,
mention before, Mike, that she got away.
Yeah, she got away. Exactly. We forgot that totally.
That's
however.
So when he sent the one girl away, he sent her away to go catch her because she got away.
Yes, exactly.
That's what it was.
Exactly.
And when she went looking for her, that's when she saw the doctor at the Bone Temple dancing with Samson, and then came back because she thought she got away. Right.
Yeah. However, exactly. The pregnant woman sees the hook. No, then it cuts back to Harley Quinn sitting on the other guy, saying something total fucking psychotic. No, until all of a sudden you see something happens to her. It's like, okay, apparently, and that instant you know that the pregnant woman threw the hook at her. But you first kind of thought it was going to hit. I first thought it hit her chest or something or whatever. No?
Yeah, I did too.
But then she starts spazzing out a little bit, nah? And then you see like
It's a great scene.
The hook went entirely into her skull, nah? And she just falls over. Great, by the way.
Yeah,
nah?
it's a great scene too, Mike, because I love the way they film it because she's over the guy, and all you see is her face from like here down, and she's kind of over him, explaining to him what she's going to do to him before she kills him.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of this sentence, you hear something that sounds like a knife going into flesh, and her eyes get really wide, and then she starts talking nonsense. It's like nonsense words coming out of her mouth, and you're like, what the fuck? And only after they back up and you see the back of her head do you realize that the hook from the thing that the woman swung from the top is sticking deep into her skull. I just thought that was brilliant. I was like, that's a nice piece of horror filmmaking right there. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was cool. However, then this is kind of shows where that kind of scene that kind of hints towards that Harley Quinn was the Red Ranger's girlfriend, because he instantly flips out, and this is like the only time you see him have an emotional reaction to anybody dying. But I mean, well, clearly shows that I think they were intimate in some kind of way, if a relationship or whatever, who knows? But there was definitely something going on between these two. Okay, then the Red Ranger sends out the others to get the pregnant woman. While they're doing this, the guy that was laying on the floor runs up to a gas tank, opens it up, and turns it into a flamethrower, killing another one of them, setting the fucking barn on fire.
Ridiculous.
Yeah?
This is ridiculous. So propane tanks don't work this way, but that's okay. We will suspend disbelief for this film. He literally grabs it, cranks it all the way up, and there was fire in the room somewhere else, I guess. Mike, did you see an open flame somewhere?
Yeah.
Whatever. He opens it up and hits a flame that's in the room somewhere and turns it into a flamethrower, like you said, torching one of the other guys that's standing next to the girl with the hook in her head. So now he's running around on flames. The whole room is in chaos. The pregnant woman gets away. Jimmy says, "Go get her."
It cuts out to Spike and the other girl sitting outside, like, that's a little bit loud in there. Spike says.
Oh, right.
Yeah, screams happenings all the time. There's like, yeah, but these screams aren't normal. I mean, maybe we should go look. And in that moment, the barn door opens up, and they all come out coughing or whatever. Then happens what you say, because the pregnant woman gets away, and then the Red Ranger tells Spike, or dumbass, to go get her. And then Spike runs after her. This is the next fucking opportunity where he could have just ran. Because the point is, he did not even have to run after the pregnant woman, by the way. Because the Jimmys got in this facility, in this farm somehow. They climbed over the fence, I guess, or whatever. Okay? Yeah. What he could have done, he could have climbed over the fence and ran. Because it's going to take these people. They probably have smoke poisoning, because you can see that they were coughing. Yeah. It's going to take these people, these Jimmys, multiple hours before they're capable of following him again. So he could run through the entire night and get away at this point.
Yeah, he doesn't do it. And it blows my mind. I was thinking the same thing when I saw this part. I was just like,
he chase it. But instead of that, he decides to chase down the pregnant woman. And when she's on the fence, he aims at her, and she stops immediately. He just says, "Please take me with you." Next opportunity that he could have just ran away. Because it's fucking stupid to think that this pregnant woman is going to help him in any way.
No, of course not. I mean, you just killed her boyfriend, husband, whatever, and everybody else. She just wants to get away, and she probably wants to kill you too, because you're just one of the Jimmys.
I would have just waited for her to open up the fucking door. And when she opened up the gate, I would have just kicked it open, preventing her from closing it, and would have ran in the other direction. I wouldn't have tried to catch her. I would have let her run. Let her get away too.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. She didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, of course. But instead, he just tries to talk. He tries to talk this woman that just watched him and his friends slaughter everybody this woman has probably known her entire life. Because this is a woman probably in her mid-end 20s. She's pregnant. I guess probably one of these guys there. Probably the 6'5" guy. Probably.
Yeah, that was her. Yeah, that was her husband, boyfriend, whatever.
Her husband. She was probably. These people were the people she grew up with. This is probably her entire
family.
World.
These are your family. Yeah.
Family. And you destroyed all of that. How can you possibly think she's going to sympathize with you in any way?
No. You could say it's because he's young and he doesn't know any of this stuff, or he's not thinking properly, which you probably could say he's not thinking properly. But fight or flight would have said, any opportunity you can take to get away, get away. The smartest thing to do would have been to follow the woman to the gate, wait till she opens it, and run. Not even say a word to her. But he doesn't. He even goes back. This is what blows my mind, Mike. He not only lets her go, she actually fights him a little bit. She like punches him in the face or whatever and then runs. He goes back. He goes back to Jimmy and all the rest of them that are standing outside of the barn that's on fire and is like, she got away. You just put yourself in danger. Dude, you didn't not just get away like you should have. You went and told them that you didn't do what you were supposed to do to a man who is obviously a psychotic murderer. What the fuck? I had a huge problem with this kid. I mean, I had a huge problem with him from the first movie, but now I really do, because he's dumb as a fucking brick.
I'm sorry. The guy's just a complete fucking idiot. And it's like, then he comes back and he comes up with the dumbest decision. The dumbest excuse possible. He says, "Yeah, I killed her. Yeah, where's her body? I don't know, somewhere in the woods." I mean, this is just
I
He's
don't. Yeah,
such
I
a
don't get
fuck.
it. Like,
He's a dumbass. He's a total. I mean,
yeah,
this character.
I would have just said she got away.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
got away. Yeah, she got how did she get away? She locked the door before me. I couldn't get her. I shot at her, but I couldn't see her. Whatever, something more plausible. But
yeah,
this guy is so insanely stupid
yeah.
that I just can't empathize with him at all because he's so fucking stupid.
Now, at this point, I was like, well, if he gets killed now, I'm not even gonna care because he kind of has it coming. Like you had a chance to save yourself so many fucking times, and now you've put yourself in clear and present danger by doing something stupid. If you die now, it's your fault. But that's not what happens because the girl who Jimmy sent away to catch the pregnant woman says, "Hold on, I've seen." And of course we saw it in German, so I'm not really sure what she said in English. But she says, "I've seen the master," is probably what she said, right? But what she says in German is the Alte, right? But that's obviously Satan. So when she saw the doctor, of course, this guy is covered in red because I forget what the name of the chemical is, but he covers himself in it because it kills the disease, right?
Yeah.
So she sees this big red guy in the woods dancing with an alpha zombie in a bone temple and automatically thought that was Satan. Clear enough. I can see that, right?
Yeah.
But she tells Jimmy, hey, I've seen the master or Satan and he lives back this way. That immediately catches Jimmy and like makes him think of something different other than killing Spike, which is good. And he's like, are you sure you saw what you saw? And she said, yeah, this is what I saw. I'm pretty sure it's him. I'm not sure at this point that, like you said, Jimmy believes any of this stuff. I think this is kind of just his way of controlling them. But he thinks, well, if that's what she thinks she saw, then maybe I can use this to my advantage, right?
Yeah. Mm.
And so he looks over at Spike or Idiot and says, well, I'm not going to kill you now, but let's see what Satan says. And if he says you need to die, then we're going to kill you. Now take me to where he is. And so what you get now is this motley crew of the fucking Jimmies heading to the Bone Temple to go visit Satan, which is actually just the doctor, right? They get there and they're kind of at a lookout spot on top of the hill. It's the same lookout spot that we saw the father talking about in the first movie. There's like a hill overlooking the entire ossuary.
Yeah.
And they're up there with a pair of binoculars. Jimmy's looking down at the doctor and the bone temple and everybody's there and he says, well, do you really think this is the master? And the rest of the group seems to agree, yes, this has got to be the master. And so Jimmy says, well, okay, I'm gonna go talk to him. And he specifically tells the others, I'm gonna go alone because I need to talk to my father alone. And obviously it's a smart move.
Yeah.
If he gets there and they're there with him, then they're gonna catch on to the fact that he has no idea who this guy is. And so that's what you get. Jimmy goes down there to talk to him, right? And this whole time, Mike, I was hoping Samson was just going to show up. That didn't happen. Because if Samson had shown up,
Samson, that Samson would show up,
yeah, if Samson had shown up, then this would have been a very short film. Like Samson would have fucking murdered Jimmy, but he doesn't. Jimmy goes down and has a conversation with him. He approaches him very cautiously because Jimmy is also not sure what this guy is, and there's a little part of me that says maybe he does think that it's Satan because he does believe his own bullshit. Right? Did you get that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
So he goes down cautious. He goes down cautiously, thinking this might actually be Satan, and that everything that he's believed this entire time is real. Says hello to the doctor, and they kind of start having a casual conversation. Jimmy says, "Are you Satan?" And the doctor says, "No, I'm Dr. Kelson. This is an ossuary. This is not like a satanic temple or anything.
Yeah.
This is just kind of like a
It's just a
graveyard, memento mori
Yeah.
to all the people who have died, kind of explains what it is that he does. And Jimmy's automatically like, damn, okay, shit, you're just a normal fucking guy in the woods who's crazy. But then he says, well, so they kind of talk about what they believe in. Jimmy's like, I'm a Satanist. He explains his whole background. where he came from, who his father was, why he believes he's Satan, and explains that he's a Satanist. The doctor explains that he's an atheist, that he doesn't believe in any of that stuff, um, and that he feels like his only purpose left on this earth is to honor the dead, and that's why he's building this ossuary. Jimmy thinks, well, it might not be what I thought it was, but I could still use this to my advantage. So he threatens the doctor and says, look, here's the deal. You've got a big problem because I've told all of my people up there on the hill right now, which notice he doesn't say how many there are. He makes it sound like there's a whole fucking army up there so that the doctor complies. But he says, all my people up there believe that you're Satan and you're the master and you're the reason we're doing all this stuff. So you're going to have to play along with my game and make them believe that you're Satan or else I'm going to kill you, is basically what he told me. It's hard to say, Mike, because I feel like this guy has been waiting for an opportunity to do something like this forever because
Yeah,
he has
what
a
it feels
fucking
like, yeah.
blast with it. Dude. Oh my God. It seems like he's not scared at all. He's like, oh yes, finally people I get to like perform for or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he agrees with Jimmy. He's like, okay, yeah, bring your people down tonight at this time and I'll do what you want. Right. Jimmy says, okay, and fucks off. You get a scene of the doctor going
Tomorrow
down.
night. He said tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. Right.
Yeah.
And right after Jimmy leaves, the doctor goes down into his little house that we saw earlier and starts dusting off his records to try to find a record that he wants to use. And he pulls up Iron Maiden's Number of the Beast, which is a fucking classic metal album. This metal album sold probably more copies than anything else done by Iron Maiden, right?
Yeah.
And he says, well, buddy, you're finally going to get a full spin. He's like talking to the record. He's like, you're finally going to get a full spin. Next scene we get, Samson comes back, right?
Well, no, he doesn't come back. That does happen later because this is a scene where you see Samson walking through the woods. Like you can clearly see the medication, and the morphium, the I would say. Samson is just on an entire weird drug antibiotic cocktail.
Yeah.
And you can see the last medication that the doctor gave him taking effect. Because you can see from his view, his senses go from normal, then to totally corrupted again, and then back to normal. Then he starts having flashbacks of a train going back and forth or whatever, because the doctor said something like, do you still remember your former life? And this is what actually confirms multiple things in the situation. Also, the thing we had in the first movie, that the majority of zombies now living in this time were infected when they were kids.
Right.
And grew up.
Right.
And that's why all the zombies are running around naked. This is confirmed more or less in this scene because Samson is now just walking around, slowly his mind coming back to him. He walks into a train. Of course, all of the other zombies are following him because he's the alpha. Then he sits back in this train and then starts to trail off. And then you see a flashback of Samson. It cuts back to before the zombie apocalypse happened, where you see like people running, driving on the train. And this clearly shows why Samson said the moon, because you see Samson as a child sitting with his family driving on the train, looking at some prospect that says the moon. Then a lot of people having a discussion. Everything's normal before zombie apocalypse until somebody the controller walks up to him and asks him for his ticket. Then he looks up at him. And then he goes from kid to young adult. And then the face of the controller changed. This is a cool scene, by the way. No?
It is a very cool scene. Yeah, I love this scene.
Yeah, that they changed like a kind of zombie-ish, and then you just see Samson look up at. Then Samson is back in his mind again. He's surrounded by the zombies. Then Samson just looks up at the other zombie with a fully normal voice and says, "I don't have a ticket." And this is the scene where Samson, at least from his mind, has clicked. And he became normal again. All of the zombie rage thing is gone, and he at least is now clear in his mind. Somehow, this is something we had a short discussion with Chrissy. For some reason, at this point, the other zombies did not see him as a zombie anymore and attacked him. Now, you can say somehow they probably sense it. I guess there's some kind of chemical pheromone going on in your brain when they're these zombies, and I guess probably that's how they sense it. And when he clicked back, his brain chemicals changed back into normal mode, and they could sense that somehow.
Yeah.
Then they attacked him. So then cool fight scene goes on with all the other zombies attacking Samson or whatever. Still kind of
This
scene
is
where
a
you see,
cool
like,
scene. This is a full fight scene between him and a
This
bunch
is-
of zombies. It's cool as shit.
full fight, great, awesome. But what clearly shows is he gets bit multiple times, but it doesn't affect him anymore because
He's uninfected now.
he already is a zombie. No, it's just his
Yeah.
mind is now back to normal. But the interesting thing about this specifically is he still retains all of the superhuman strength and agility he had as an alpha zombie. So his physiology is still a zombie, but his mind is normal again now.
Right.
So that does
Right.
give it kind of an interesting. And by the way, you just have to say that these zombies aren't undead like typical zombies.
No,
Yeah?
they're not.
You can see clearly that they have a strong healing factor that is equal to vampires. That's how I would
Yeah.
put it out, more or less.
Yeah.
So he still has all of those things, but he's normal in his head again. No, because you see him walking out of the train covered in blood. No, he doesn't scream
Yeah.
anymore.
He's
doesn't
killed
do it,
every
he's just-
single zombie that tried to attack him.
Yeah, he killed all of them, and he just sighs like, okay, now it's normal. And you can also see the way he's walking. He's just walking totally normal as a normal
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
What is just this entire plot with Samson alone, super interesting. And also, you can see throughout this entire scene that Samson took clothes and covered himself up. Not because the zombies don't do that.
Yeah.
You could also see him eating berries and
Right.
stuff like that he's coming back to his normal mind, covering himself up with
Right.
clothes again because he doesn't want to be naked. What's totally normal. And it's just real fucking. This scene alone gives an entirely new aspect to it. And I really hope that they're going to take that into the next movie because you have multiple discussions. Now, could this technically happen to all of the zombies? Or is it because he's an alpha? Matt, that's the thing. It was clearly established.
I don't know. I would assume so.
Yeah, because it is clearly established that something happens to these alphas that makes them bigger and stronger. And they are more intelligent. What
Yes.
means if they're more intelligent, they have more brain activity. That means the brain is still intact.
Right.
And somehow can just be, like, let's say, jump started again. What is kind of similar to happened to Samson. But then the thing is, you have like the pregnant zombie. Was that kid that was born Samson's child?
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
That-
That's why I thought the pregnant woman at the beginning, when it was being dragged back by the doctor, might have been something that he wanted to use as a test, because I do believe that that's Samson's child.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know, Mike. Like, this whole thing, the fact that they did this is cool because it gives, like I said at the beginning of the episode, gives credence to the rest of the movies as to exactly what this is. And what this is, even the virus, even though it has physical attributes that causes these things to be a little bit stronger, faster, they heal quicker. Okay, that's all physical things. But the mental part of it is just a form of psychosis. That's what it is.
Yep.
It's a psychosis because the medication that he gave him was an antipsychotic, right? So he gave Samson an antipsychotic medication, and that was enough to snap him out of the psychosis. But the question now is, and I want this answered in the next movie, if it is a form of psychosis that can be fixed by an antipsychotic, then do they have to continue to take this medication?
Well, that's
Or is it a one-time fix? That's what I want.
Both could actually be the case because typical psychosis is usually not caused by
Right.
viruses. Mental issue in the brain.
Right.
Now, this is caused by a virus. It's kind of, if this happened during the infection, how his brain clearly, to a certain degree, you can say might have fought off the virus. That's why he's more intelligent.
Right.
Or he developed some kind of resistance again. Not resistance. You can't say that he's infected, but you also have to take into account how long has the doctor been putting him on this drug cocktail. Then he's giving him these antipsychotics. Plus, he's infected with some kind of virus that gives him some kind of super strength.
Right.
I mean, you have such a crossover reaction with all of these different chemicals. It's entirely unknown what actually happened to Samson. It could be because my ex-girlfriend was a virologist, for example. And she explained something to me that a lot of scientists were trying with medications, with some kind of typical diseases, that they were trying to develop a specific type of medicine, a pill, that would, on a surface level, change the cells of a human being throughout the entire body.
Okay.
It would not affect somebody when it comes to health or whatever, but it's just like the surface of the cells of a person would be changed in a way that viruses could no longer get into the cells of the people, more or less
Okay.
making the people carriers. This was something that was being done with the AIDS virus, for example. It was something that was being done by researchers. They were trying to make a medicine against AIDS. If they can cure it, that they can use this medicine to make the cells of people, the viruses no longer being able to enter the cells where they could live out normal lives, but they would still be just carriers, more or less.
Right.
And that is one thing. I mean, this is a long time ago. It was like 2012 when I was with my ex and she explained that to me. And this was not any medicine that actually existed. It was just something that she knew that research was being done on because she wrote her master about the AIDS virus.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
So,
yeah.
So that's why I think you could have a similar situation going on here.
Yeah.
That somehow somehow this drug cocktail mix he's been getting for who knows how long, with the antipsychotics he's been getting that the doctor gave him, that it somehow changed the cells in his body, maybe specifically his brain cells, to the point that they are no longer affected by the virus.
Okay.
Could be. And if that is the case, it could be a one-time fix, but it could also be that he would have to be on these antipsychotics again all the time. But this is also another discussion. Still, how would it wouldn't be possible to reintegrate these people back into modern society. How?
I mean, yes, but it would have to be done in sample groups. I mean, you would have to collect them one by one and then slowly administer this fix throughout time.
But if it's not a one-time fix, this virus is highly contagious. If one of these people infect another person in normal society, that would cause a chain reaction, making it happen again. That's the point. If these people are already infected, Matt, there is no way you can integrate these people back into normal society. You might be able to let them live out their normal lives again. Maybe. But these people can no longer live with other humans.
No, but they could live on the island, but there's still also normal people there. Yeah, I don't think, Mike, we're going to get in the next, but it would be a serious stretch for the next film for them to cure this thing with antipsychotics completely. And for that to work out in any kind of way. Not to mention these people that are left that are still zombies have been zombies since they were young children.
Yes.
So there's not much mind there anyway. You know what I mean?
Exactly. The thing is that's the thing is the majority of zombies now were infected when they were kids. And they probably only survived because some of them became alphas like Samson, and they were more intelligent, directing the other zombies. Without the alphas, they're probably going to die out like the older zombies did. But the thing is, if that's why you're not sure if the thing they did with Samson would only work on alphas, not normal zombies. I mean, there are so much questions you have with this, Matt. Makes it interesting, by the way. But
What it could be though, Mike, and I think this is, if I had to guess what direction they're going to go with this in the next film, it's if it even comes up again, it might not even come up, right? Because nobody knows about this shit. Nobody knows about it. Everybody's dead that knows about it. But if it does come up again, it would only be a fix for people who were just recently infected. So if you knew that somebody was recently infected by this virus, you could dose them with this stuff to snap them out of it. And that would be where the direction of the next film would probably go, if they do that. But you're not going to fix the whole fucking island of people that are fucked up. It's not going to happen.
There's no way. You could probably create a cure with it. Then there's the next thing, because you still have the child from the first movie that is somehow immune. But that's also you do not know, because the child appeared to be normal, but they don't know if the child is normal. I mean, it could be that this child specifically has some natural immunity to the virus. And if that's the case, that could be used for a cure if they could figure it out.
What
here's-
also could be, and this is also something interesting and kind of goes out into left field, right?
Yeah.
But if you were going to be immune to this, and we know that it's a psychotic, that it is a form of psychosis, right? It's a form of psychosis that also has physical attributes. So if you already had a form of psychosis, then maybe it wouldn't do anything to you. You know, that's also the possibility. So maybe the child is not infectable because it is actually infected with some type of psychosis, mental psychosis. Possibly. I don't know. It's interesting. I like the direction they've taken with this, and it's been a long time coming. Like, for years. And you have to remember when the first film came out, it was early 2000s, like 2001, 2002, I can't remember, right? Since that movie, we've had no explanation of what this virus is other than it is basically like being infected with rage, right? So now we have our
Rabies.
answer. It is a form of psychosis that also has physical attributes, which is interesting. I don't know where they're going to go with it. I think after we get into what happens at the end of this film, then people can kind of make their own decision. But needless to say, I am super fucking interested for the next film for multiple reasons, right? They've done a really good job of keeping this fresh and interesting, and I can applaud this strictly for that alone. Like, they've done a very good job of that.
Yeah.
So the next scene we get is after Samson has his realization that and is kind of normal again. We see Jimmy and the rest of his Jimmies going down to see the doctor, right? So they walk down to the Bone Temple. The Bone Temple does not look like it normally looks. It is completely lit up with lights. God damn, this dude went to a lot of work to make this work. Like, in one day, he set up lanterns on every pole that's in that ossuary, built a huge, gigantic upside-down cross, which I don't know how he's going to do that in one day because the thing is solid wood and it looks like he had tools to create this thing because it's brilliant looking. But he's created this huge upside-down cross and put it in the middle of the tower that's in the middle of the ossuary. There's fire everywhere. It's just really cool looking. Like, I would love to go visit this set just to, like, see what it looks like because that's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
They show up, the doctor's not there, but everything's kind of all set up and looks very satanic. They did a very good job of making this place look like a satanic temple. And so all the Jimmies are standing there in the middle of the ossuary with the tower behind them, and then you hear this booming voice come over these speakers, right? And I would imagine he set up which, by the way, Mike, where does he get all the electricity for this shit?
That's another good question. I mean,
whatever. These would have to be like concert-sized speakers that are hidden around this entire ossuary, because the voice that comes over this is the opening to The Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden. And it's the opening talking point where it's a verse from the Bible explaining how Satan is going to show himself, who he is, what the number of the beast actually represents. If you know the song, you know what I'm talking about, right? And the minute the metal kicks in, there's fire everywhere, and the doctor shows up completely covered in white paint with blacked out eyes.
Yeah.
He looks like somebody from Old Man's Child. If you know that band, you know Old Man's
yeah.
He looks like fucking Galder from Old Man's Child, dude. He's like in this, he's got this thing tied around his waist. His skin is completely white. His eyes are blacked out, and his teeth are kind of blacked out in spots too. So he looks like a fucking demon, right? And he starts dancing to this music in the weirdest fucking way. Like, this is not how you would dance to this song, but I guess it's effective. And I was laughing the whole time. Like, it's a cool scene, but I was laughing.
Because it's a great scene. This is why I kind of call this a weird musical, because for one, the dance scene with Samson and this specifically, and it's like, yeah, okay, you have like a bunch of young kids. They do not know. They probably never heard music, by the way.
No, they've never heard music before. I'm sure.
And they've been taught this fucked up religion by Jemmy, you know, that they're Satanists or whatever. And then you have Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast, where it's of course singing about that now. So of course they think, oh my god, this is like tunes from the devil. It's funny in a kind of way, but I mean, considering how stupid these people are, and that they've never heard music, whatever. And but this is like perfect setup. It is a fun scene to watch,
Yeah.
Because he pulls off this insane, amazing show. Like Jack, you
Dude.
said, like he was like, "Oh yeah, finally I can do this" or
Yeah,
whatever. No?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like he's been wanting to do this his entire life, is what this seemed like. Like this is the show that he puts on is one that you would pay to go see. Let's put it that way. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
fire everywhere. In the ossuary where the tower is, he's got like some type of fuel that's set up all around the outside of the circle. So he drops fire in it, and this huge circle of fire shows up.
yeah,
He does like a fire show that you would see at like a medieval market. You know what I mean? He does like the full fire show that you would see at a medieval market. It's just like over the fucking top, dude. Over the fucking top. Very weird, but very cool. And as a metalhead, I was like, this is an awesome scene. It's really
yeah,
fucking cool.
yeah.
I loved it. And Iron Maiden is definitely going to sell some more albums now just because of this movie. You know they are. That album
Yeah.
got a bump from this film, definitely. This scene right here makes the movie worth it for me. Like this scene alone, and then the very last scene in the film make going to see the movie worth it. I really enjoyed this part. Ralph Fiennes is great. He's a fucking fantastic actor. Anyway, so the dance is over. Everybody is extremely impressed. Even Jimmy himself, as this dance was going on, I don't think he thought the doctor was going to go this far out. He's like, "Wow, okay, fuck yeah, man, you
Yeah.
like did it to the nines, you know." And so after the dance is over, Jimmy has a quick conversation with the doctor. He says, "Now tell us what your bidding is, master." You know, and so the doctor says, "All of you kneel." And so all of the Jimmys kneel. And then he tells the Red Ranger, "No, you can stand up, my son. You can stand. You don't have to kneel for me." This makes Jimmy feel really good. So Jimmy's standing there and he says, "What is your bidding?" And basically the doctor says, "You will listen to everything that Jimmy says and do everything that Jimmy says." And so Jimmy takes that opportunity. The Red Ranger takes that opportunity to go, "So you mean we're going to continue going throughout the world and slaughtering all the normal people and sending them to hell? Is that what you mean?" And, you know, Ralph Fiennes' character's like, yeah, what you said, basically." He's just
Yeah,
kind of
because
nodding, you know?
yeah, because you can see that the doctor he's playing along because the doctor, of course, the doctor is now being threatened by the Red Ranger. No,
Right.
nodding and saying yes, but you can see in his eyes that he's like, "Holy fuck, what am I doing here?" No.
Yeah, it's like he didn't really
And you can
realize
see,
what Jimmy
you
was
can
doing.
see,
I don't think he explained to him what he was actually doing.
yeah, and you can see
Mm,
in the doctor's eyes the entire time, like, "Holy fucking shit, what am I
yeah.
doing?"
Yeah. He's I don't think he's cool with it at this point, but he's kind of like, "Well, I'll just say whatever I have to say to get these guys to leave," right? And so the kids have bought it. They believe that this is Satan. They believe that everything that he says is true, and now they're definitely going to follow Jimmy and do everything that he says, right? Until the doctor realizes that one of the kids that's standing there is Spike. And if you watch the previous movie, you know that Spike interacted with this doctor quite a bit because he's the one who basically put his mother down and then gave her skull a place in the ossuary of prominence. So this guy knows Spike. Now, Spike is wearing a mask, right? And I think Spike left his mask on because he didn't want the doctor to realize who he was. Probably. I would assume so because he's the only one still wearing the mask, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The doctor sees his eyes through the mask and realizes instantly that it's Spike. And so he drops the axe for a minute and walks over to Spike, takes off his masks, and looks at Spike and goes, "Spike," and realizes it's him, right? And so instead of completely dropping the act, the doctor kind of has a change of heart. And I don't know why he did it the way that he did it, because this almost certainly sealed his doom, right?
Yeah.
But the doctor says, "Well, you know, Jimmy, if this is really going to work the way that you want it to work, then you're going to have to do the exact same thing that Jesus Christ did, because I am the opposite of Jesus Christ, but things work the same way. So, or I'm the opposite of God, but things work the same way. Jesus Christ had to be crucified so that his disciples would follow him, and you're going to have to do the same thing. You are to be crucified." Of course, Jimmy is not okay with this. Like he like has this shocked look on his face, like, "What, dude? No, don't say that. They're gonna do whatever you say, right?" And so the kids immediately are like, "Yeah, let's fucking crucify him." And Jimmy's like, "No. The only thing he can do to stop this is to stab the doctor in the stomach with a knife." So that's what he does. He stabs him in the stomach with a knife, and the doctor falls. and Jimmy explains to the rest of them, this guy is bullshit. He's not really Satan. Um, this is all just whatever. But he doesn't get to the end of his sentence because Spike then stabs him in the stomach with a knife, right?
Yeah, but also Vicky,
So
the other girl that name is Vicky, she takes out the other two because there's a fight going on.
Yeah.
Because once the doctor says that, Vicky's like, "Fuck yeah!" pulls out a knife and wants to go after him.
yeah,
Jimmy
yeah,
tells the other two to stop her, and then the fight goes on, and Vicky takes out the other two. So at this
yeah.
point,
And
just like you
Vicky's a
said,
dangerous bitch too. She took them out no problem at all.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Spike stabs Jimmy in the back. So Blake walks up to Dr. Kelson. Oh, why did you do this, Dr. Kelson? And whatever. And this is where Vicky says, okay, she's finally now, everybody's dead. And from this crazy
Yeah.
group, and she can get out of all of this shit together with Spike. Dr. Kelson has a short conversation with both Spike and Vicky, and then they leave. But then Vicky says, yeah, but not before we do your bidding. And then Vicky hangs up Jimmy on the crucifix.
It's a good scene too because you don't see them nail him to the cross. You just kind of see the ossuary and the fire that's around it, and you hear the sound of nails being hammered into a board and Jimmy screaming bloody murder. So you know he's getting crucified, right?
Yeah, but this is also then Vicky and Spike walk away, but this is also seen because Samson comes back. And it looks at Dr. Kelson, looks at Jimmy. First you think like he's going to attack them because first you see like Jimmy's on the cross and you see Samson
Hanging upside down, yeah.
Hallucinating, actually seeing Samson as the devil. Now walking past him and whatever. But Samson
Right, which
just
is a cool
looks
scene,
at,
yeah.
the doctor and says, Kelson. So this is like crazy because this brings up our theory again that it could be a one-time fix for Samson because when the doctor gave Samson this medicine, this was the day before that, and during that day, and another night, so this is almost 2 days have passed since Samson has taken this medicine, and he snapped out of it. When he fully snapped out of it, already a day has passed, and antipsychotics and antibiotics do not work that long, Matt.
Depending on what type of antipsychotic it was, it depends on if he's been giving him this medication for a long time or not. Because if it's a heavy antipsychotic, those things have to build up in your system for a while before they start to work. Usually you have to take those about a month before they really kick in. So it could be that it's just still in his system because it'll stay in there for a while. But if it's a light antipsychotic, it would have been gone after 2 days. Yeah.
But you don't know, right, exactly. However, Samson picks up the doctor and walks away with him.
Yeah.
And Jimmy, the Red Ranger, Jimmy just says, "Oh, Father, blah blah blah."
Yeah, he says the same thing Jesus does as Jesus is hanging on the cross. He says, "Father, why have you forsaken me? Did this really have to happen?"
In the last minute, you see a zombie come attack Jimmy. So this is clear that shows, okay, Jimmy's probably gone at this
Jimmy's dead, yeah. He would have been dead anyway. If he just stayed up hanging on that cross, he'd have been dead in a few hours. But a zombie takes him out.
Yeah.
And so, that would have been the end of the film, honestly, and they could have left it at that. But I'm really glad they didn't. Because what we get next is fucking awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah. It makes the movie.
This made the movie for me. Like I said, the dance scene with Iron Maiden's Number of the Beast song, and then this ending is amazing, and it makes me want to see the next movie.
Mm-hmm.
So what you get next is you get a bird's eye view of kind of a homestead that's off in the countryside, kind of on rolling hills away from everything else. And it looks instantly familiar if you're a fan of this series, right? I realized what it was immediately the second I saw it. I was like, oh shit. And I even elbowed Mike. I was like, dude, check it out. And he's like, what? You didn't realize what it was at first, but they started zoom down into the house and you see this younger black girl. She looks like she may be like 9 or 10, right? Maybe a little older.
I think she's around Spike's age, like 14, I would say. I think she's older.
Okay. So yeah, she's like a young teenager, right? And she's reading out of a history book and just sitting in front of a window. The house is really well taken care of. It's clean. It looks like kind of a modern house. Like this place has not been interrupted by zombies in a very long time. And she starts talking to someone and asking questions about what she's reading. And all of a sudden, out of one of the other room walks a person, and it is the original character from the first movie, Jim. So Cillian Murphy's character Jim walks into the room, and you realize that this is the house that we saw at the very end of the first film, where he had gotten away with his female companion and another young girl who we don't see here.
Yeah.
But it's obvious that this young girl is probably his daughter, Jim's daughter.
She calls him dad, too.
Huh?
Yeah. She calls him dad, too.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she calls him dad. So what this tells us is there was a whole thing with the last movie because we saw a zombie out in a field that looked exactly like Jim's character, and everybody thought, oh, shit, that's Jim, you know?
Yeah.
But apparently it wasn't Jim because Jim is well alive, has a family, and lives in this homestead, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're kind of discussing what, you know, is historically what happened with World War I and World War II, how people...
Because he's homeschooling her. Yeah.
Yeah, he's home. Well, he has to, but this is good. I mean, she actually gets an education, unlike most of these kids, probably. And he's explaining history to her. He's explaining how World War II happened because of what happened in World War I and how a cult of personality can take over the world. And that they also quote Winston Churchill and said that people who ignore the past and don't understand the past are doomed to repeat it.
Yeah.
And that kind of says a lot about what's politically going on right now, but we won't get into that. Anyway, as they're talking, they hear zombies screaming in the background. The little girl notices it and she says, "Dad, do you hear that?" And so everything gets quiet and he listens and they realize it's zombies screaming in the background. He looks at his daughter and he says, "Okay, you know what to do, right?" And she says, "Yes." So they both grab rifles and they go out onto, I think it's their roof, right? Onto the roof of the building. And Jim pulls out binoculars and looks in the distance and realizes that it's Spike and the girl that escaped with him running away from zombies on the hillside. The little girl says to her dad, "Hey, Dad, should we help them?" Jim thinks about it for a little while and he says, yeah, okay, let's help them out. And then they get up and start heading into the countryside to go help these two people. And that's the end of the movie. What that tells me is that the next film is going to be a story about Spike and the girl, and we're going to meet Jim's entire family, and we're going to see where it goes from there. I'm interested. I love that fucking scene.
I'm interested also what happened to the other characters. What happened to his female companion in the end? That was also the second protagonist in 28 Days Later. Obviously, they became a couple. And then they also had a younger girl with them. I was interested in what happened to those two. Are they alive, or are they just somewhere else on the farm looking for food, or maybe fishing? I mean, they're near the ocean, so they could be out fishing at this time.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I would assume they're still alive.
Or
it would be a real shame.
As well. I mean, she could have died in labor as well. I mean, who knows? These are just, and also what happened to the other girl. I don't know. I mean, I do not really think that they somehow died by zombies, considering the fact that they were safe in the end.
Yeah.
And obviously, after like almost 30 years, they're still doing pretty fine. And it also seemed like, how shall I ever, that these two, Jim and his daughter, had more had resources that were not necessarily meant for only two people. So that's
True.
also kind of, I don't know. Yeah, and also a great thing for them is they're loaded with weapons. They have guns, rifles, and everything. Okay, it's clear where they got this from, because pretty much towards the end they were at this military complex that got overrun by zombies, and I fucking guarantee you, at one point, probably Jim went back there and got all of those fucking weapons.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. If I remember correctly, too, this place is not far from that military facility either, like where they ended up. I mean, they're on the coast, but not so far that he couldn't go back and get the stuff.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So
I'm more than excited, probably more excited for the next film than I was for this film. I was excited for this film, but more so now for this next film, just because we kind of get to wrap up the series. One, the realization that Jim is still alive after all of that, which is kind of everything we've wanted to know since part 2, right?
Yeah.
And we get the full story of his life. We're probably going to get like a backstory too, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of get to see where Spike's story goes, even though I don't really give a shit about Spike. Maybe he'll redeem his idiocy in some way.
I don't care. I don't care what happens to Spike at all.
Spike doesn't give a shit.
I mean, how should I say it? I like the other girl more than Spike. I mean, I would like to see more from the
Well,
other
I do
girl he
too.
got
She's
away
a better
with.
character. Yeah.
Yeah, but she's cool. She's badass.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could say like everything she's been doing, she was forced into this situation and was doing what she had to do to survive, and she so far did not see any opportunity to flee. And even if, where should she go? Because she just kind of accepted that this is how the world is now. I would be interested in that, and of course, to see what happens to Jim, obviously. But Spike, I don't give a fuck. I really don't care. I mean,
I like giving characters the opportunity to redeem themselves, though, because this
No.
guy. I mean, so here's the thing: Spike comes from a place that's completely barricaded and safe, right?
Yeah.
So if they wanted to, they could all leave and go back to that community, which would be good for this little girl, right? Because this community is a pretty wholesome community from what we saw from the
Yeah.
movie before this.
Yeah.
This would
Yeah.
be a good place for Jim and his daughter and his family to end up if they didn't want to stay there. Oh, I'm kind of hoping that's what happens. Also, it would be a real fucking shame if that was the last we saw of Samson.
Yeah. They're definitely going to. I think they're going to bring Samson back in. But I hope in the next movie that the discussions happen that Jim asks Spike where he came from, and that Spike explains himself. And I hope that Jim is going to look at him with something like, "Honestly, and you left." I hope.
Yeah.
I hope they put that in, dude.
I'm sure that's going to happen. They have to address that, Mike.
Because Jim is clearly a very smart guy. You could see that in the first one.
Yeah.
So I hope they put a discussion in that. Jim is just going to be like, "Why did you leave?" Second question, why did you not go back?
Yeah. I hope they do. They kind of have to, because it's kind of a glaring plot hole here for me. I mean, you can call it a plot hole, but it's actually just stupidity.
Yeah, no, it's not a plot hole at all. Spike is just he's stupid. He's fucking stupid.
I say we keep our minds open and give him a chance to redeem himself, just to see. He's not going to fix. You can't fix stupid. So fine, but maybe he could do something to bring this whole story full circle and actually have a purpose. Because as of right now, the kid has no purpose whatsoever, other than just being an idiot. So there had to be a reason, Mike, to tell this story, which makes no sense to tell, other than the fact that, hey, by the way, this disease is a form of psychosis. There was no reason to tell this story unless you were going to use this character to bring Jim and his family back to some type of civilization. That's what I was thinking, right? Because honestly, think about it. Why would you tell this story? Why would you break from the formula and tell this story about the Bone Temple and these characters if they're all going to die anyway, except for this kid? His purpose has to be to bring Jim and his family back to that society. Would have to be. But I guess we'll find out. Anyway, overall, movie-wise, I didn't think so when I saw this yesterday that it was a better movie than the last one. And I wouldn't necessarily say it's a better movie. I think it's a different movie. It's definitely more interesting. It's definitely more interesting. I mean, you got more answers to things that you wanted to know answers to since the second movie.
Yeah.
Overall, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Good film.
Yeah, me too. I would
Good
say
film.
so. I would also give it that, like a 9 out of 10. I maybe give it 1 point off just because it's so weird. And from the tone, it does not really fit in with any of the other movies. I mean, the second movie fit in with the other movies. It was just
it did.
Poorly written.
Badly written.
Yeah? But this is like I don't know. It feels like they tried to be a little bit like Zombieland, just like I mentioned in the beginning.
A little bit. It didn't have the same kind of comedy, though.
Yeah.
I mean, like there were definite like comical parts of this. Like Jimmy's whole group is comical just because of what they are, right? But it still remained kind of grounded in reality, whereas Zombieland is kind of like there's a lot of things in that movie that I can't really see happening. But
it's supposed to be stupid. That movie,
I know.
Zombieland is supposed to be stupid. That makes it different.
It's a comedy. It's a comedy. This movie kind of rode the line between dark humor and reality, but tonally completely different than the last movie, but I think that was a breath of fresh air because all of these movies so far had been dead serious, except for this one. So it was a welcome change. And the fact that you got an entire Iron Maiden song from beginning to end without having to edit the song at all. It literally played from start to finish. And during that entire scene, you got the most amazing satanic dance number you could possibly get from Ralph Fiennes. Amazing reason to watch the film. That and the last scene, of course. Yeah. But yeah, overall, pleasantly surprised. If it's a movie you want to wait for on video, okay, do that. But I would go see it in the theater just because it's a theater movie for sure.
Yeah.
You got anything else you want to say about this film?
No, not really. I mean, we said so much. Just I'm looking forward for the third part. I really am excited to see it when it comes out, probably next year. I don't know when, but probably. But I'm not looking forward to seeing the biggest dumbass in horror history again. And Spike is the biggest dumbass I have ever seen in any horror movie. I'm sorry. I mean,
I don't think you've ever raged about a character more in any other episode than you have this kid.
Because he's so stupid. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. At one point, what we should do, dude, a short episode on top 10s. Top 10 assholes, top 10 idiots, or whatever. This guy is going on place 1. He's number 1 on top 10 of the most idiots in horror.
Okay. I'm down with that episode. We could do that just to kind of break things up. I think that'd be hilarious. Do you realize how long that episode is going to be? There are so many fucking idiots in horror movies and so many people I hate. But I mean, it'll be fun because horror has a history of creating some really.
I would say what we're going to do. We're going to figure it out because we're going to come up with let's come up with 4 categories. And you and me, we're going to maybe write about this, what we ever seen in horror movies or whatever. And then we're going to make an episode where we literally just go on all 4 categories. And we're going to do it as some kind of, award show.
Okay. I'm down with that. I like it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So, go to see The Bone Temple in theaters and write us back what you thought about the characters and about the movie because I'm interested to see what everybody else thinks. Mike, this is going to be one of those movies where people either absolutely loved it or they hate it.
Just like the last one. Yeah.
Just like the last one. And that last one was very divided. There were a lot of people who didn't like that movie and a lot of people who loved it. So I want to see what people think about this one. Until our next episode, I'll see you around. I'm Matt.
I'm Mike.
And we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
The blackest eyes. The devil's eyes. Simply